and Lion King. This was really surprising how not good it was.
Oh. Well, see, I actually wasn't, like, surprised that it wasn't good.
Well, no, I heard it was going to be... I had heard it was almost word for word from the old one.
And it really wasn't. Especially,
I mean, there were parts...
Story-wise, the way it moved...
You'd have to say...
No, there were some identical
dialogue.
I
mean, but you'd have to say 80% of it was same.
Oh, yeah. But there's definitely more changes than I was
That's a huge portion. It's not like Aladdin. I mean, that or Beauty and the Beast or Cinderella. I mean, it's a huge portion is taken from...
And it's also kind of like shot for shot, too. Like, there's several shots that are very... similar or the exact same.
Couple things out of the way. This movie Lion King looks good.
Yeah. Oh, the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, maybe the critics got it wrong. Yeah. Like, this looks great.
It looks good. I've heard some people have issues with the talking animals.
Here's the thing. I didn't have necessarily an issue with it, but I could see where some people were like, it definitely would help.
Well, if that's the case, watch the animated. It was live action. You kind of knew what you were going to get a realistic portrayal of the talking, and I thought that looked fine. I had no issue with that. A couple of good parts of this movie, Scar.
Dude, which is funny because I told you after seeing the movie, I turned to you and I was like, I thought Scar carried the first half of the movie.
Yeah,
it's Chiwetel Ejiofor. I've always struggled with his name, but he's a stud in this. I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
Like as far as he may not lived up to Jeremy Irons, but he did a perfectly fine job. He brought some life to his performance. Like there was a little. He seemed menacing to me. Like the rest.
Let's just keep going. Timon and Pumbaa.
Timon and Pumbaa, yes. Timon and Pumbaa were like
Seth Rogen and
Billy Eichner. But halfway through, it was like I wasn't necessarily bored, but I wasn't like super excited, and I was kind of.
But they do a really good job.
They do a good job, but they brought life back into the movie for me.
Yeah.
Like it felt kind of dull up until that point.
No, it was. I mean, outside of when Scar wasn't on the screen, and this goes, we're gonna just dive right into it here. The biggest complaint here is the voice acting was not good.
I wouldn't say horrible.
It's not good.
It was very flat. Yeah. Like it wasn't not.
Well, it's like I said. It was like I said earlier. It's like not earlier in this video, earlier today. It was almost like they recorded the table read, and then chopped it up.
It was like a read through. Yeah. It was strange because, and also it felt, especially like Timon and Pumbaa's back and forth felt like Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen were in the room together, and they were voice acting, but just talking to each other like it was a conversation, and it felt like the timing was good, everything was good. The rest of the people felt like they were in a booth, they gave a line, and then that was it. Like, it was like, you'll say this, you'll say this. And
I give James Earl Jones
that was my...
In my opinion, what was missing from his voice acting performance was the being more animated. But he's older. He's 80.
There's only so much you can
90 years old.
There's only so much you can ask from a guy that's that old.
And for doing what he was fine. His voice is iconic.
It's so iconic that you're not going to sit there and say it's bad.
Yeah.
But man, I got to be honest. The rest of the cast. Listen, I'm a huge Donald Glover fan. I've always been a Donald Glover fan. Even when he was with Derek Comedy, then when he started rapping as Childish Gambino, always been a huge Donald Glover fan. Supremely disappointed by him in this movie. And he has shown that he could be animated from things I've seen him act in the past.
Yeah.
And he was just not, he was very monotone in this, and it was like besides him singing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," which was fun. The music's fun.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
Hans Zimmer comes back and kills. Elton John his music is still music is fine. But for me, it really was the voice acting.
Oh, it was. I mean,
but he was very monotone.
Beyonce wasn't great, but Beyonce's was even stranger because it felt like she was being animated and talking with emotion, but it felt like what they took from her was so cut up. It felt like her stuff ended and started abruptly.
It hurts, but there are times I've been watching this, when I was watching this, where I was like, is it the performance or is it the writing?
Yeah.
Because there were some times I was like, I think that's the writing. But then I couldn't tell. I was like, but that also was like a flat read of that line.
Yeah, well, all of Donald Glover's felt flat. Like, it felt really flat. And that's what I was saying with Beyonce. She had some moments where she was animated when she spoke, and it just came off. You'd listen and be like, that doesn't even sound normal. Like, it sounded odd.
Yeah. It sounded like someone was just talking to themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it really did kind of feel like. Something else is just, I just thought of. It was something that I was going to complain about this movie, then I was like, oh, but that kind of happened in the old one too, which was when Nala finds Simba, it's like very quickly where she's like, you need to come back home. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, there was no like time to catch up or anything. Yeah. It was just immediately you need. And then I was like, oh, that was in the old one too.
I will say the extra stuff that they added for this Lion King, it almost felt like deleted scenes from the old one. Like, it didn't feel added. It didn't feel added on to me. It felt like those were just things that they didn't show in the old movies, in my opinion. So I thought that was the stuff they added in this one. I was okay with. My point is, I didn't think it detracted from the movie. We're like, for comparison's sake, in Aladdin, there was some stuff that was added, and you were like, why in the world was that added?
Yeah, that's true.
With this, I had no issue with the stuff that was...
Well, see, that's just it, is that this... Did you feel like this dragged on, kind of like Aladdin did? Like, Aladdin, there were parts that felt like it dragged on a bit. This, strangely...
No, there's forward momentum to this movie.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say it was something that where it felt like it was dragging on. It just didn't, it clearly, for me, just did not hit. Like the first one.
And part of it too, and I brought this up last night, there were times where people were delivering lines and I'm like, you delivered that wrong. And and it's because some of the lines that were delivered in the old one were so iconic in the way, like, the king has returned. And
see, that kind of made me mad. Rafiki and the baboon in this one, he was more of like a witch doctor type.
Yeah.
In the first one, he was too. Like, he was the guy that would like bless the new prince or the new king or whatever. But in the old one, he was so much more animated, and he was something like literally, not literally, like just the way he talked, and he was like funny, he was a little crazy. And in this, he just would have some line. He only had like maybe a total of like 5 lines, it felt like.
Yeah.
And there were some iconic lines for me from Rafiki in the first one that were just taken out of this one. That was kind of bummed me out when I was like, man, they're not, like when he says like it is time, like it is time. There's just certain things that they changed. There were certain things that they changed that I was like, it felt like you picked the wrong things to change.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that I wanted from the old one that you took out, but then you left a lot of things in, and I was like, you probably could have changed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought, I mean, there were just a lot of things where by the end of the movie, I was kind of bummed that they even had remade it. Like, even Aladdin was...
Well, no, for me, it wasn't even that. It was the fact that this is one of Disney's, like, prized possessions in terms of... I mean, this is their highest grossing animated movie
and this
ever.
This is going to make a shitload.
Well, I know, but you would think they would have taken more care of how it was presented.
And it comes... We talked about this, which is where, like, this is a prime example where having an A-list cast for voices is not always necessarily the best thing.
And we talk about this in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and how there wasn't necessarily the biggest actors, but
they got excellent
voice actors.
But this comes back to some part of me thinks, I don't even think it was like the choice. Because, for instance, the hyenas, I thought the girl hyena was fine. She was pretty menacing, so she was believable. But the other two hyenas is Keegan-Michael Key and Eric Andre. Both of them are comedians. Both of them very animated and very eccentric comedians. and they were bland in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know the potential of these guys. Like, how are you not
Did
using
they
them?
try to make them bland because they couldn't get the faces as animated as they want?
But that seems dumb to me. Like,
Yeah.
why? At that point, it's like, why even make the movie? If you're going to tone down every performance just because you want it the hyper-realistic visual, why even remake it? Because then you have to know it would be bland.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, then it's like, I guess, blame Jon Favreau. But that's strange because Favreau, I thought, did an excellent job with Jungle Book.
Yeah.
So I don't, there's a lot going on that I have no idea what went wrong. But it's like, something clearly went wrong.
I mean, for me to say, we were having this discussion literally 10 minutes before we started shooting this video, and I asked you, did you like Aladdin better than you liked this?
Possibly. Which is saying a lot, because I didn't really care for Aladdin. And I love Lion King, the first one, is in that perfect category for me.
Oh, it's
so good. And I went into it knowing that it wouldn't meet that expectation. I knew it wouldn't. Yeah. It's a remake of a movie that's already perfect. There's nothing you could do that would match it. And it fell way below my expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, I went into it thinking if anything, it'll be like kind of the same, and it'll be like watching the old one, but somewhat similar lines with new voices, and that'll be whatever. And it disappointed me a lot.
Yeah, it was, and again, it all falls back to how lines were delivered, which is strange. It's a weird thing to pick apart in a movie, but that's all that it was, because visually it looked good.
It clearly, like, all these people delivering their lines felt like they were talking to a wall.
Yeah.
Except for Timon and Pumbaa. And I think Chiwetel Ejiofor also kind of had that feeling of talking to a wall, but he was like, I'm just going to crush.
Yeah.
Like, I went into it thinking, Scar, I was like, ooh, Scar may be the most difficult one to replace.
Yeah.
Like, Mufasa
would have been.
But then they were like, we have to get James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
So it's like, fine. But then Jeremy Irons' voice in the first one was very iconic as well. And I was like, I thought Chiwetel did just fine.
I did too. I
thought he did a good job. And besides that though, I was, like, it's just, it sucks. Because when I saw this cast, I was so excited because I was like, oh, some of these were, like John Oliver I thought would have been good.
No, John Oliver.
And I didn't think he was good at all.
That was one of the weakest parts of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. Did you also... The pouncing scene pissed me off. How that played off. Do you remember, like, the pouncing lesson?
In the cartoon, he knew it was a pouncing lesson.
Yes, and I love that about... He's like pouncing lesson. He's like, oh, no, a pouncing lesson. Yeah. And in this, he's just giving the daily report and then gets pounced by Simba. Yeah. And you're like, that kind of takes away the joke out of it. Now it's just like Simba's tackling a bird without him knowing. I don't know. Also, something else, and this is something that's more of a complaint. It's not even a complaint because there's not much you could do because they were going for that very realistic portrayal of it, was the cartoon is way more colorful. And something I really thought about was in the scene where they're escaping from Zazu. Do you remember in the cartoon? Yeah. It's so colorful.
Yeah.
And in this, they're just at a watering hole, and it's just all these animals, and they happen to get loose.
I didn't mind that whole scene.
Oh, see, I'm not saying it's not even a complaint, but it's just like there's certain things that are so vivid for me from the cartoon version that just they couldn't pay off in the remake.
And I think that's part of the reason the more and more I think about it, it is part of the reason we don't like this movie as much, is because even though both our expectations were tampered going in, we've seen the original.
Nothing could come close.
Yeah, and to not only have we seen it, you were, I was 6 years old when it came out, and that was like...
You were 6?
95?
I thought it was 94.
Okay, 5 years old when it came out.
Let's say. Okay, I'm just trying to get my years right.
Point being,
Sorry. You were at prime age to go see this movie.
Yeah, like
right.
This,
I remember watching this on VHS
hundreds of times.
So much as a child.
Yeah.
God, man.
And I mean, and I wanted to at least be able to compare.
I wanted to walk out and say I had a fun time.
Yeah.
And I walked out immediately feeling the need to complain.
Yeah.
Which really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So, what would you give it?
I don't even want to grade it.
I'd give it. Because visual.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I give it a C, and I'm gonna say, but the first one gets an A plus. If you want to go watch the cartoon, the first one's oh my god,
first one's perfect, and this one I give this one like a C minus. Like I can't even. The only reason I'm not giving it like a D is because I just think of like. Because the story's the exact same, and the story's great.
The story's great. Visually, it's great.
There's some performances that are fine. Timon and Pumbaa are standouts. I thought What Did I Do?
The worst part, good. I don't want to say the worst part. We say they're standouts, and I mean they literally stand out because you're going, why do these sound fine and all the other ones sound weird?
Yes, if they sounded weird as well, I'd be like, I would not blame anyone else but Jon Favreau. I'd be like, that's clear. But it's like, why did you choose Timon and Pumbaa to be so funny and so natural with each other, and the rest of everyone else just feel like stilted and
flat? It sounded like they read their lines over a cell phone.
And they were like, yeah, that'll be 3 million, please.
Yeah, they called their lines in.
It was just strange. I would give this a C minus, I suppose, maybe even a D plus. But yeah, I was.
Don't go see it. Go watch the animated version.
Yeah, honestly, petition. Tell your theater. Be like, how about you get the film reel of the OG and we'll watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll still be giving money to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was. God, man, I was. Sad.
I don't want to say don't go see it. If you want to see, I bet you know what. Your kids would love it.
We went with it with our sister. Our sister loved this.
Yeah.
And she almost took it personal that we didn't like it, but that's just it. Is go see.
I think if you have a kid and you want to take your kid to go see this,
they'll have fun.
And and it's all the animals. And again, it looks.
Oh, they have
cool.
baby Pumbaa.
They have baby Pumbaa. Oh, you've got.
There are some cute animals in this.
But if you're gonna go into it expecting anything even halfway or a quarter of what you got out of it,
you're gonna be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
God, man. So.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's all I'll say about that.
That's enough for beating online.
I know. If you had told me 4 years ago that
honestly,
the words, the Lion King was
it might have been better if they just took the voices out and let us watch the animals run around screen.
Like it was a silent film and just have
like it was lions and animals in real life.
Okay. Well, now we're just watching Planet Earth.
I know, but my point is it probably would have been better.
All right, I guess. I mean, that's just it. It looks great. It does look great, but it's God, man.
Yeah. Anyway, catch us next time with our take on hopefully something better.